So in this problem, consider the 3-bar truss shown in figure. Now it is consisting of 3 bars. So you need to consider them as 3 elements. It is given that Young's modulus is 2 into 10 raised to 5 megapascal. Determine the nodal displacements. You are supposed to determine the nodal displacement and stress in each member. Find the support reaction also. Support reaction means the reaction at nodes 1 and 2. So you can see here, one of the node is fixed totally and the other support is what? It is roller support. It means the displacement is permitted in only horizontal direction. It can roll over the horizontal surface. So available degree of freedom is Q3 is permitted, whereas Q4 corresponding to it is 0. Q4 equal to 0 in this. Q3 is present. So this is the unique thing in the problem. This is what you are supposed to remember in this problem. Now, let us start with writing the finite element model. Now, given here, node number is given, node number 1, node number 2, and node number 3. The distance or the coordinates of node 1 will be, if I take node 1 as origin, 0, 0, then obviously, can anybody tell me what is coordinates of node 2? Coordinates of node 2?
800, 0.
Yeah, thank you. 800, 0 is the coordinates of node 2. Similarly, can anybody tell me coordinates of node 3?
400, 400.
400, 400. X is also 400. Y will also be equal to 400.
400.
So you know this, what is how to write the coordinates, because this will be now x1, y1, x2, y2, and x3, y3, right? So when I write the finite element model, what happens? Node 1 will have displacement along horizontal direction first, that is q1. Then along vertical direction, it is q2. Then along node 2, q3 is horizontal displacement, q4 is vertical displacement, degrees of freedom. Node 3, q5 is horizontal displacement, q6 is vertical degree of freedom or displacement. This we have the finite element model, and the forces given here are, at node 1 there is no force F1 and F2 equal to 0. At node 2 there is no force F3 and F4 equal to 0. At node 3 F5 is 0, horizontal there is no other force. Vertically there is a force, that is 150 kilonewton. So this is acting in downward direction. This is F6. F6 equal to minus 150 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. That is 150 kilonewton. So first step, whenever you are starting the finite element problem, you have to write the finite element model for it, right? So our finite element model will consist of, one is the coordinates of node 2, 1, 3, then displacement in vertical and horizontal direction at nodes, each degrees of freedom, then forces, whatever they have given, right? So the boundary conditions in the given problem will be what? Node 1 is totally fixed, therefore q1 is equal to 0 and q2 is also equal to 0. Node 2, I told you horizontal displacement is permitted because it is a roller support, right? So q3 is permitted, q4 is 0, q5, q6. So this will have 6 by 6 matrix because 6 degrees of freedom, out of which after application of the elimination approach, there will be 3 cross 3 being eliminated. So we will be left with a 3 by 3 equation, 3 equations with 3 unknowns. So this you have a picture in your mind. Now, let us write the element connectivity table, very important thing. So whatever you write, you stick on to that. So if you say node number 1 and 2 are corresponding to first element, you have to stick on to that. So your friend may write a different one, 2, 1 he can write. In that case, his matrices will be different, but answer will be same. Displacement will be same, right? So I told you node 1 has got coordinates x1, y1 equal to 1, 2, 3. So this is our 0, 0. This is our 800, 0. And this is our 400, 400. Right? Now, write the element connectivity table. So time being, now this is our x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3. This we have written. Now let us go to element connectivity data table, element connectivity data, right? What is element connectivity data? It should contain length of the element, right? So if I select the elements as so element one is this one. This is element one. It is between nodes 1, 2. Can anybody tell me what will be the value of theta equal to? If I write initial node as 1, final node as 2, what will be the value of theta? Theta will be measured at node 1, initial node. Therefore, with respect to horizontal in anti-clockwise direction, theta will be equal to, anybody? For element 1, what is the value of theta? Theta at node 1, what is the angle of element 1? No answer? What will be the value of theta? How do you measure theta? I told you it is with respect to horizontal direction in anti-clockwise, right? So if this is our element 1, this is our element 1. So this is node 1 and 2. With respect to node 1, so initial node is 1. At initial node, we are measuring the value of theta. So at node 1, what will be the value of theta? With respect to horizontal, it will be 0. So obviously, now if you see, the length of the element is 800. This we know directly. L equal to cos theta, direction cosine L. Cos 0 equal to, anybody?
1.
1. And sine 0 equal to
0.
Now, L, I can find it by direction cosines also. That is x2 minus x1. You see what happens if I find by x2 minus x1, whether it will be same. X2 minus x1 divided by LE. What is x2? Node 2 800 minus 0 divided by 800. This will obviously be equal to 1. So that is what this 1 is equal to. Similarly, y is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by LE. What is y2? 0. y1 0 divided by length, that is 800. Obviously, this is equal to 0. So direction cosines for element number 1 with initial node. This is very important. Node 1 as final node, initial node, and node 2 as final node. Direction cosines are 1 and 0. Similarly, let us take element number 2. What is element number 2? Element number 2 is connected between nodes 2 and 3, right? Nodes 2 and 3. Now, what are the coordinates of this? let us say this is our x1, y1 now. This is our x2, y2. Right. So length of the element we have to find first. Coordinates of this 800, 0, and here it is 400, 400. Right. So length of the element is given by root of x2 minus x1 square, that is 400 minus 800 square, plus y2 minus y1. What is y2? 400 minus 0 square. So this is root of 400 square plus 400 square. 400 square plus 400 square. If I take the square root, it will give us 565.68. 565.68. That will be our length of the element. Okay. Now, next, we have to find the direction cosines. So how will be the value of theta? If I am measuring theta, it is at the initial node. If I take node 2 as initial node, with respect to that, this will be theta, somewhere lying between 90 degree and 180 degree. So theta value is 90 to 180 degree. What you can find out, how to find it? Theta equal to tan inverse of, you can find by that way also. This is theta is 180 minus tan inverse of opposite. What is this opposite? Height. Height is given by 400 divided by hypotenuse, that is also 400. So 180 minus 45. Tan inverse of 1 is 45. So this is nothing but 135. Theta value is 135 degree. So you can also find out by that method also. Can anybody tell me what is cos 135 equal to? No answer? What is cos 135?
0.
Cos 135. Sure. What is cos 135 and sin 135? Cos 90 plus theta and sin 90 plus theta. You should have your calculators with you.
Minus 0.707.
Minus 0.707. That is cos 135. What is sin 135?
0.707 positive.
Plus 0.707. So it's second quadrant. So obviously it is positive according to ASTC rule. So that is one way you can find out using direction cosines. Using direction cosines. This is node 2. This is node 3. This is 800, 0. This is 400, 400. Now, what is L equal to? Root of, sorry, x2 minus x1 by LE. x2 minus x1 by LE, that is x final minus x initial. X final is 400 minus 800 divided by 565.68. This is minus 400 divided by 565.68 will be minus 0.707. Similarly, what is M equal to? M equal to y2 minus y1 by LE. Direction cosine M equal to m equal to y2 minus y1 divided by LER, y final minus y initial. Y final is 400, y initial is 0 divided by 565.68. This will be obviously plus 0.707 also. So either you find out the exact value of theta, or you use the common direction cosine, that is x2 minus x1 by LE, or y2 minus y1 by LE, or you can call it as x final minus x initial, y final minus y initial. So whichever is easy for you to remember. So direction cosine for element 2 is over. Now let us go to direction cosine for element number 3, right? So element number 3 is between nodes 1, 3. So either you can select it as 1, 3 as the node number, or 3, 1. If I take 1, 3, this becomes the theta value, right? So obviously this will also be equal to, can anybody tell me, 45 degrees itself, right? This approaches to be in first quadrant. So coordinate for the node number 3 is 400, 400. Coordinates from 1, 0 is 0, 0. Now tell me, the length is again, even if you calculate, it will be same, because height and remaining things are same. So length of the element is 565. So cos 45 is 1 by root 2 is 0.707. Sin 45 is also 1 by root 2 is plus 0.707. Or if you take the direction cosines, x2 minus x1 by LE, 1, 3 I have taken. 1 is the initial node, 3 is the final node. 1 is the initial node and 3 is the final node. So therefore, let us take node 3, 400 minus 0 divided by 565 is plus 0.707. M equal to, again, y2 minus y1, 400 minus 0 divided by 565. Again, that is also equal to 0.707. Now, L value and M value, you know, what is L square and M square? L square is 1, M square is 0, LM is also 0. Coming here, L square is 0.5, M square is also 0.5, L into M is minus 0.5, right? So here also it is L and M are 0.5, 0.5, L square, M square, 0.5, and L into M is plus 0.5. So if you keep these things, writing stiffness matrix is easier. Now, write the stiffness matrix. How to write the stiffness matrix? How to write the stiffness matrix? Anybody? First write L square, M square along the principal diagonal elements, LM, LM. The same thing you write on all the 4 quadrants. So the diagonally opposite one will have negative terms, right? A by L is outside. So for each element, you will have a 4 cross 4 matrix, right? Now, what is area of the first elements? A1 and A2. A1, they have given area to be equal to 1500 millimeter square. Area of the horizontal element is 1500. A2 and A3, 2000, right? So keeping that in mind, first write the stiffness matrix for element number 1. So direction cosine L equal to 1, M equal to 0, L square equal to 1, M square equal to 0, and LM equal to 0. So A 1500, E 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter square or megapascal, L 800, L square, this is L square 1, LM is 0, M square is also 0. The same thing continues for all the rows and columns. Now, multiply the common term outside the bracket, 1500 into 2 by 800, that is 30 by 8 is 3.75. 3.75 gets multiplied inside. 10 raised to 5 is common in all the 3 elements. Element 1, element 2, element 3, all will have same 10 raised to 5 term. Now, the global degrees of freedom, this depends on element connectivity data. Element 1, we had written it to be connecting between nodes 1 and 2. 1 and 2 means this will be Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Therefore, write it as 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are K11, K12, K13, K14, right? K13 means first row, third column. 1, 4 means first row, fourth column, so on. So we have written the stiffness matrix for it. So since it is connected at node 2, the common terms between node 1, element 1 and 2 will be these 4. That is K33, K34, K43 and K44. So these 3 you should be careful when you are adding. Now let's go to element 2. Element 2. Right. Element 2 is what? This one. Element 2 connected between nodes 2 and 3. Value of L is minus 0.707. Value of M is plus 0.707. L square will be plus 0.5. M square will be plus 0.5. L into M will be minus 0.5. Be careful. L into M minus 0.707 into plus 0.707 is plus 0.5. Now A2, area of second element is 2000 millimeter square. Young's modulus is 2 into 10 raised to 5. Then length of the element is 565.68. Now substitute what is L square, M square. L square is plus 0.5. M square is plus 0.5. L into M is minus 0.5. So this is for positive. The same thing you write on the diagonally opposite side, right? Even if you calculate, you will get the same thing. Now for the remaining things, whatever you have written positive here, you write it opposite. So instead of L square, minus L square will be equal to now minus 0.5. Minus M square will be minus 0.5. Minus Ln will be minus of minus plus 0.5, right? So that's how you write the stiffness matrix. So keep the common term outside the bracket, 10 raised to 5. 2000 into 2 divided by 565.68 will be 3.535. So this you multiply inside the, when you multiply, you will get 3.535, whatever you have the common term, into 0.5. So you write the whole matrix. Now global numbering, the global degrees of freedom for element 2 will be, so we have written in element connectivity table as it is connected between nodes 2 and 3. Therefore, corresponding degrees of freedom for node 2 is 3, 4. Corresponding degrees of freedom for node 3 is 5, 6. So 3, 4, 5, 6 will form our degrees of freedom, global degrees of freedom. So while adding our global stiffness matrix, K33 and K34, K43 and K44 of a first matrix, element 1, K1 will get added with the K2 of the second matrix, right? Third element stiffness matrix will be A2 we know, A3 we know it is 2000 given, Young's modulus is given. Now here L value was equal to plus 0.5, M value was equal to plus 0.5, L into M is, sorry, L value was 0.707, M value was 0.707, L into M is 0.5, L square is plus 0.5, M square is plus 0.5, right? So these values you get from element connectivity data. Now how to write it? First write the L square, M square all positive terms. Diagonally opposite you will have same positive terms. Whatever you have written positive, write negative here. Similarly in the diagonally opposite side. Now what are the degrees of freedom for element? Degrees of freedom for element. We wrote in element connectivity table as element 3 is connected between nodes 1 and 3. Therefore, displacements corresponding to this are Q1, Q2, Q5, Q6. Therefore, write it as 1, 2, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 5, 6 as the global numbering. So this is important because while in superposition or addition of global matrices, what happens is if you don't write global degrees of freedom properly, the corresponding terms will not be added. Now, so once we have written this, we can assemble the stiffness matrices. So how to write the stiffness matrix is important. K1 now you observe K12 and K12 of element 3 and K1, that is stiffness matrix 1. Corresponding terms of the stiffness matrix 1, that is K11 and K12 will get added. This is 3.535 and there we had 3.75. Can you see here? 3.75. So this gets added here. So corresponding term. Now you write it. So K11 gets added, K2, these two are same, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So this 5, 6, 1, 2, 5, 1, 6, 1, 5, 2, 6, 2, these terms are written as it is. You are transferring this as it is. So be careful while you are transferring. This 4 belongs to third matrix. This belongs to first matrix. And this is combination of both first and third matrix, right? So these are the common terms. Now coming to the second row and third row and fourth column. So here you do not have any problem because this is according to first matrix itself. This is from first matrix. Here it gets added. This is combination of first and second matrix because K34, K43, K3, K44 and K33 are present in both first and second matrix. So first and second matrix you can see here. First matrix it is 3.75. Second matrix you will have 3.535. So that is also being added. So in remaining things are zeros there. So you can use them. So coming to the next row, that is, this is from second, K 5 6 and 3 4. This is from second matrix. So you will have enough time to write the global matrix. This is the matrix to be 100% perfect. If any one of the term is wrong, then your analysis will be wrong. So coming to the last row, so this will be addition of 1 2 5 6, that is first and third matrix. First and third matrix. Next you have second and third matrix, and at last you have third matrix written. So you take enough time and write this K matrix properly, right? Now once K vector is written, Q vector you know, displacement Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6. Now coming to force vector, it is present only at node 3 in vertical direction. Therefore, F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 are zeros. Node 3 is having only vertical downward direction. Therefore, minus 150 kilonewton, right? So it's a column vector. We have written as a row vector. Keep it as displacement vector, right? Now, K into Q equal to F, you write it here. K into Q equal to F, the displacement vector. So once you write this, what do you have? Once you write this, what do you have? It is boundary condition. I told you. What is boundary condition given? Node 1 is fixed. Node 2 is fixed only in vertical direction, right? Therefore, Q1, 2, 4 are equal to 0. Q1, 2, 4 are equal to 0. Q3 is present. Q5, Q6 are present. Now, what I should do here? First row, first column, then fourth row, fourth column, I have eliminated. What happens if I eliminate these things? I will be left with this 3 cross 3 terms itself. 7.285, 3.535 minus 3.535. The same thing, 7.071 and 7.071. So what you are supposed to do now? Write the modified equilibrium equation. Now this is our modified equilibrium equation after using elimination method. Elimination method of handling boundary condition. That is first row, first column, second row, second column we have eliminated, and Q4 vertical displacement is also there. So Q3, Q5, Q6 you will be determining. Now how to solve this 3 by 3 equation? Anybody? You can use your calculator. Equation mode. 3 equations with 3 unknowns. So you can find out what are X, Y, Z, right? X, Y, Z, 3 terms. Or you can use Gauss elimination approach. Row column transformation, you can do it. And then also you can find out. So Q3 from this is 0.2, Q5 is 0.1, Q6 is minus 0.312 millimeter. So you can understand here, in spite of applying 150 kilonewton, that is 150 into 1000 Newton. So 1 Newton is almost how much? How much kg? 1 Newton, how much kg? 1 Newton, how much kg is it? You're online, Ilva. What is 1 Newton equal to? One kg, meters per second square. Even applying after so much of force, the displacement in the truss is only 0.2 millimeter, right? So not even 1 millimeter also, it is less than that. Using that, write the Q vector. Now writing the stress vectors, it is easy for you. Writing the stress vectors, what write the stress vectors? Sigma 1 E1 L1 minus L minus M. Write the corresponding values of E1 and L1. E is 2 into 10 raised to 5, L1 800 minus L M. L and M for element 1 is 1 comma 0 or direction cosine 1 and 0. Q1, Q2 are zeros, Q3 you have. So after multiplication, 1 into 0.2 into this will be 50 Newton per millimeter square. That is stress in the first element. Then coming to second element, L and M values are minus 0.707 and plus 0.707. Therefore, minus L is 0.707, minus M is minus 0.707. L and M values you write it. E you know, L2 you know, Q3, Q4 you have written. So this is very important step according to node numbering or element numbering. We have written 2, 3. Therefore, this should be Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6, right? So write this. So this is the only term which is not multiplying. How to multiply? 0.707 into 0.2 plus minus 0.707 into 0.1 plus 0.707 into minus 0.312. Whole thing you multiply with 2 into 10 raised to 5 and divide it by 565. Stress in the second element will be 53 Newton per millimeter square. 53 Newton per millimeter square. Third element, E and L are same. L value and M value both are 0.707. You write it minus L minus M plus L plus M. So since we have written element 3 is connected from initial node as 1, final node as 3. Therefore, this will have Q1, Q2, Q5, Q6. So write it as Q1, Q2, Q5, Q6. So Q1, 2 are zeros, Q5, Q6 you have 0.707 into 0.1 plus 0.707 into 0.312. You multiply the whole thing with 2 into 10 raised to 5 and 565.68. So once you write this, you will get stress in the element as 53 Newton per minus 53 Newton per millimeter square itself. Minus 53 Newton per millimeter square itself. Now, how to find the reactions? How to find the reactions? I told you it is fixed in node 1. Node 1 is fixed. Therefore, R1, R2 you will have. R3 is 0. You have R4, R5, R6 are zeros, right? So write the K into Q matrix. This is K vector for us, Q, F vector. So first row you multiply with column, subtract by 0, you will get first reaction. Second row you multiply with the column, subtract with 0, you will get R2. And third row you multiply with this and subtract with 0, it will be approximately 0 because it has got free movement roller support at node 2 in Q3 direction. Therefore, it is obviously 0. R4, you multiply this and subtract with this, you will have plus 75 kilonewton. That is R4 is in vertical direction. Then R5 multiply with this 3.535 into 0 minus 3.535 into 0, 3.535 into 0.25, so on. You multiply, it will be approximately 0. R6 into multiply this minus 150 will always be 0, right? So now we have forces R2 is this and R4 is this. R2 plus R4 both are equal to 75 plus 75, that is 150 kilonewton. So totally applied load in the problem is downward, that is minus 150 kilonewton. So by cross check, we have R equal to minus P. That means our reactions are correct. So this is how we solve a 3-element problem, right? So similar way, you have a inclined load for this problem. There can be an inclined load problem. So we have to resolve this into vertical and horizontal components. So this will be 150 cos 45, 150 cos 45, both horizontal and vertical. So if you use that, the remaining procedure is same. Now here we have one more load, that is 15 kilonewton in horizontal direction. You can find the solution for this also. I have given in the material. So only thing is the boundary conditions remain same. Forces change. You have forces here. Q3, Q5, Q6 will change. Sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3 will change. So you can try this problem on your own when we have an inclined support, right? So the meeting will be ending in a minute. So thank you for attending class.